defense here for a while, but it's new days, same type players, but still they've got some guys that can stretch the field a little bit. I'd like to see this ball tossed around on the offensive side.
Brenton King is going to kick it away to Remus Ballmer. Also, Jalen Adams is back deep as well. And now King will put it in the air in Atlanta. Game 3 of the season for the Jackets against the Citadel Bulldogs. A short kick beyond the 10. And the fair catch made, Remus Ballmer. And so the Citadel will go on offense to start the game. They didn't win the toss and decided to receive, so they'll start with the football. And their quarterback, Brandon Rainey, 6 feet 205 from nearby Ackworth, Georgia, and a junior under center for the Bulldogs.
Well, he came in as a freshman. Rainey was the B-back, really the back that makes it all go. It all goes through the B-back in this triple option offense, as they well know around here. But then they moved him to quarterback last year. He took over the last 4 games of the season and won 3. In trouble early.
Looked like Rainey had to hang on to it there after an exchange that was less than clean. TK Chimedza making the stop for Georgia Tech.
Well, turnovers have been an issue. Some penalties have been an issue. And this is something that you should be able to do in your sleep running this offense. And the first snap, that's not a good sign. Even though they get the ball back, they're lucky to move forward just a little bit here on the first play of this game.
Just 1 yard on first down. This is Rainey. He's going to keep it and get tripped up just beyond the line of scrimmage.
Brought down by
Caleb Oliver and David Curry in on the tackle for Georgia Tech.
Curry does a nice job here, Tom, of just finding a way to knife in. Penetrate. No matter what the offense that's coming at you, if you get some penetration, you're going to disrupt it all. We saw that a lot last night. Wake Forest really disruptive in that UNC backfield in their win. So here's a 3rd down and long and a chance for a 3-and-out to start for the defense.
Yeah, 24-18 for Wake at home against North Carolina last night to get ACC play started. Around the end, Dante Smith, and he's corralled. And well shy of the marker by Bruce Jordan Swilling. He got 2 yards on the play. It's 4th down.
Boy, angles. Watch Jordan Swilling here. Just watch him take the proper angle. Going to go make it, get outside, and knock him down. Guys fighting on the outside. There was a block on the outside by a Citadel receiver, and he won that battle. He had his guys. So the defensive secondary has got to be careful throughout the day. But number 12's there to save it. And it should be a good place to start here for the Yellow Jackets.
Campbell to punt for the Citadel. Omarion Brown is deep at his own 30-yard line, and before the snap, flags are out.
Snap infraction, number 85, offense, 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
Stuart Mullins is our referee. Steve McBride, our replay official, and we'll try it again on 4th down for the Citadel, and Matt Campbell, the sophomore.
Campbell had a big week in the loss against Elon last week. An outstanding young punter here, Matt Campbell.
Campbell, one of 28 players from the state of Georgia on the Citadel roster. This is Brown. And he'll get stopped near the 30-yard line. The punt was 47 yards. The return is 4 yards from Omarion Brown.
Right on average for Campbell, 47.7 average. But see who comes out and runs the show today. Get ready. We're going to do some quarterback juggling here, Tom.
How about Lucas Johnson, number 7, 6'3", 215, and a sophomore from San Diego, California.
All right, so maybe we'll get into a little bit of a rhythm here. He had a start against USF last weekend.
First career start for Johnson a week ago. 11 of 17 through the air, 45 yards and an interception. And he ran for 36 yards on 9 tries. Johnson looking left all the way. Floats this one into Citadel territory near the 42-yard line. And the catch was made. Malachi Carter goes up and gets it for 28 yards for Tech.
Hey, how about it going downfield? Here's a little ISO. When you know Barrett in coverage really does a good job, but he can't run past. That back shoulder throw is so tough to defend. But when those eyes get big by the receiver, you've got to motor down, and you can't give that space, a little bit of space, and you're doomed. And Georgia Tech stretching it a little bit early, just what we called for.
Penalty markers, James. The catch by Carter was his 5th of the season.
5-yard penalty. First down.
Georgia Tech with just its 5th penalty of the season. They'd only been penalized 4 times for 30 yards, least in the ACC coming into today, and 3rd in the country. So a rare miscue by the Yellow Jackets makes it 1st and 15. Those 5 catches for Carter so far this season, that's the most on the team. From the 46 for Johnson. Pressure comes, gets rid of it. Too high for the intended receiver down the sideline. Sean Thomas Faulkner came in and provided the pressure on Lucas Johnson.
Well, that's the guy that Lindsey highlighted there in the open. Sean Thomas Faulkner has been big not only on defense but special teams here for the Citadel. The sophomore from Easley, South Carolina, and it's 2nd down now and 15.
Howard inside the 35 for Jerry Howard Jr. The junior from Rock Hill, South Carolina, taken down by Destin Mack.
Nice patience and nice vision. All the backs in this offense, they came in to run it a little bit differently, but they all had to have good vision. Good job finding the hole there, making it 3rd down and manageable.
That was a 12-yard pickup. This is Smith. And he might have lost yardage there. He'll lose 2 on a carry by Dante Smith, the redshirt freshman from Spring Hill, Tennessee. And again, it's Faulkner on the play.
Well, we talked about the penetration for Georgia Tech defensively. How about the penetration here? You see the 2 big bodies there up through there in a hurry, and then there to clean it up. Nice job by the linebacker, Willie Eubanks, the leader of this defense, with a big stop.
Harvin into punt. All ACC Tech 2nd team a season ago. This one right at the goal line. It's going to be a touchback. Very close play right at the goal line. So when we come back with 10:48 to go in our first quarter, Citadel has the ball back. No score. In Charleston, South Carolina, 0-2 on the season, but we told you that both of their losses this year by 7 points. And James, many players from the state of Georgia in a Citadel uniform this afternoon.
Always fun to come back home and play in front of the home folks. How about that? Almost 30 players, and half of them from right around here in Atlanta. So much talent has come out of here, and doesn't Jeff Collins know it? He's trying to keep them all home now, not lose any of those studs here from the 404.
That includes the quarterback, Brandon Rainey from Ackworth, Georgia, northwest of here by about 30 miles. And from the 20, 1st down for the Citadel, left side, Clay Harris, the sophomore from Atlanta, Georgia, 2 yards.
There you go, helping us out a little bit. Well, it's Jackson on the stop, but Clay Harris, if they can get that B-back established, if they can get him going where he gets 3 or 4 every pop, then it makes it all work. It feels like everything works, and it's so hard to stop it all, but it all starts right there with that B-back number 5, and Brandon Rainey sure knows that because he spent a full season toting that rock from right behind the quarterback.
Up the middle. Diving forward, Clay Harris brings up 3rd and short as we approach 10 minutes to go in the first quarter.
That's exactly what I'm talking about right here. There's the read, and it's a handling by Clay Harris, and it's always falling forward. You need that D-back to run low and always fall forward and get you a few, and this is exactly what you want in this offense here, is a 3rd down and short. Just chip it away.
Harris, 2nd leading rusher on the team behind Rainey. His 3rd down, and Rainey's going to be 2nd effort. They had him stopped, it appeared, but Rainey kept it moving past the 30, and a 1st down. He got 3.
Well, his head coach, Brent Thompson, told us this week on the phone, good play call, bad play call, he will get you 4 yards, and he does just that, just enough. When you think he's going to be stuffed for a loss of 1, he squirts out of there, the will to get it past the sticks and move those chains. What a big play for the leader of this football team.
Georgia Tech trying to bring some pressure. Rainey will tuck and go. He comes up short of the 35-yard line, got 3 yards on the carry. Again, he's the leading rusher on this team. He averages 105 yards per game on the ground. The first 2 losses to Towson and also last week at Elon for the Citadel.
How about on that same phone call, Tom, how about his coach saying, well, he runs a 5-flat 40 and he's got a terrible arm. He doesn't jump out anywhere, but we love him. He is our guy and he's our leader and he makes it all go.
Very honest comments from Brent Thompson, but he knows who the leader is out there as he tosses this one out. This is Remus Bulmer trying to turn that corner, and he hops out of bounds beyond the 35-yard line. Bulmer, the graduate student from Missouri City, Texas. But Johnny Kerr had the play after 3 yards, James.
Well, and watch David Curry here. Here he is, the linebacker again. Angles. See him take on. He doesn't get cut. Hey, keep him off your feet. There's one guy that knows that. It's the guy that's played linebacker here in this defense over the last couple of years. Johnny Kerr out there as well. So here's a 3rd down and medium now. 4 yards to go. And a chance for this defense to get off the field and put it in the offense's hands one more time.
Citadel converted its last 3rd down attempt. This one beyond the 40. This could be really close. Needed to get to about the 41 as Curry made the tackle on Harris. And it is good enough for a 1st down. 4 yards on the run. Clay Harris, the sophomore from Atlanta, Georgia. Defensive coordinator Andrew Thacker, co-defensive coordinator along with Nathan Burton. And we talk with Thacker, who played collegiately in the Southern Conference, and Furman, he knows all about this Citadel offense.
The energy doesn't stop with Jeff Collins, does it? He's got a lot of juice himself.
The pitch. And Njoku inside the 40 and pushed out of bounds near the 35-yard line. Christian Campbell had to make the play on Nakem and Njoku on the run for the Citadel.
Ryan McCarthy right there is that outside receiver. You don't see him anymore because he's driving Trace Willing all the way down the football field. There's nobody out there to set that edge. And yeah, you've got to respect that pass. You've got to be careful because they'll hit a couple. Citadel will every now and then. But you've got to help out in that run game. And all the angles changed by those linebackers. They couldn't get to him.
25 yards on the previous play. This is Rainey who keeps it and falls forward to the 30-yard line. 4 yards on the rush for Brandon Rainey.
4-yard gain on the play. 2nd down and 6.
Well, the Citadel
Ball on the 30.
has had some success against the Football Bowl subdivision. 8 and 50 all time. They last played an FBS opponent last year, late November, against Alabama. Lost 50-17, but hung with them, James.
Yeah. Had a chance to take the lead early in the 2nd half. Penalty called a field goal back, and got that same kicker here. They kicked a 48-yarder to tie it up last year at Alabama.
Rainey throws it as an open man inside the 10, and a Citadel touchdown. Raleigh Webb on the catch for the Bulldogs, and they're in the end zone first.
For the Bulldog touchdown.
The Cadets are pretty stoked. First time they've scored in the first quarter this year, and they take the lead. The play pass, and we just talked about it. It's easy to get lulled to sleep in the secondary against this team that's run. Okay, this B-back's working now. They're working. They're chipping away. Man, they're hurting us. I got to go in there. I got to cheat a little bit and help out a little bit, and that's when they get you. A beautiful drive for the Citadel to come in here and strike first.
Jacob Godek for the extra point for the Bulldogs. And it is a 7-0 lead. 3rd TD pass of the season for Rainey, James.
Everybody wants a piece of that rock. They want to go stop the run, but don't forget about Deuce over in the corner. How about the Bulldogs with that first bite? The eyes over here going this way with flow. It's not even a hard sell on the play action fake, but still, everybody's eyes, everybody's trying to go that way because they were just hurt by that 25-yard Njoku run. So they all have their ears pinned back trying to go stop that run and help out. But instead, you forget about Raleigh Webb, who had a touchdown pass, a 27-yarder against Elon, and he gets another one here today in Atlanta.
Tobias Oliver scoops it up, makes a move at the 15. Oliver cradles it to the 40. tripped up near the 45-yard line. Tobias Oliver on the return of 42 yards for the Jackets. Joe Douglas had to make the stop for the Citadel.
You know, here's the replay. The one thing you didn't see in that replay was the bobble. The ball went down to the turf, and sometimes that can serve as a little bit of a blessing because it gives guys a chance to set up those blocks. You know, it's kind of tough to just stand there and let them set up because you want to turn on the jets. But it's just enough, that beat, and a nice return as they try to answer here.
Tobias Oliver is one of those three quarterbacks who could see action today at the quarterback position. Lucas Johnson still there. Jordan Mason gets the handoff from Lucas Johnson. James Graham, Lucas Johnson, and Tobias Oliver have seen action at the quarterback position this year for Georgia Tech.
Right, and there's Oliver, number 8 right there. You've seen Oliver at a few other spots. You've seen him out there lined up at receiver. A great running quarterback and an outstanding athlete. He's just trying to put the ball in the playmaker's hands.
Yeah, he had a rushing touchdown in the win against South Florida last week. Throwing on the run is Johnson, and that one hits the turf incomplete. Looking for Amarian Brown, and Faulkner had coverage for Citadel.
The ball looked like it just slipped out of the hands of Lucas Johnson, and Jeff Collins will tell you that this is his best throwing quarterback, coming in 11 of 19. And now he's faced with a 3rd down and 8. Jackets want to stay on the field here. They got to get to the 45.
It's going to take off out of that pocket. Up to the 45-yard line, and based on the spot, that should be a first down as Joseph Randolph made the tackle of Lucas Johnson, who got 9.
Johnson hasn't played a lot since he's been here, coming off that bad foot, and a couple things that coaches liked was there wasn't any hesitation. Last week, he tucked the ball and ran a couple times. No more hesitation. There wasn't any hesitation there. Saw it, went and got it. First down, Jackets.
Johnson ran it 9 times last week, completed 11 passes, the most by a Georgia Tech quarterback since 2016. Looking for another one inside the 10, diving attempt by Malachi Carter, and it's incomplete. Lane Botkin back there for the Citadel with Carter.
Georgia Tech felt like with this aggressive man coverage that they would get from these corners today, they wanted to try to stretch it and go deep. And again, it's good coverage. This time it's Lane Botkin. The sophomore, they're stride for stride. You know, Botkin, and even the play before, the first play of the game, you snap that head around, you got a chance to intercept when you're in position. You got to trust it.
Tobias Oliver has the football for Georgia Tech. Let's check in with Lindsay.
Thanks, Tom. Defensive captain Phil Barrett, I got a chance to speak with him earlier this week. Asked him what his biggest obstacle in his career was, and he said transitioning from a follower to a leader. When he arrived at school, he was playing behind 2 All-American players. He actually didn't touch the field until 2 years after his career started his first game that he ever had any playing time in, and he said it was really difficult going from watching on the sidelines to being the guy who was relied on to perform game in and game out.
We'll see what he and his defensive teammates can do against Georgia Tech on 3rd and long, Lindsay. Barrett, the junior from Columbia, South Carolina, in that secondary. Johnson uncorks it deep inside the 5. There were 2 defenders back there. Brown was trying to chase it down, and he couldn't get there. Too far for Amarian Brown. It's 4th down.
Yeah, so a couple throws there on that drive. The one little swing that went to the ground, and then that one there, just not the way that number 7 wanted him to come off of his hands. And lucky actually on that last one that it wasn't intercepted.
Punt from Harvin. Botkin is back deep. Wants the fair catch at about the 12 and makes it successfully. 4.5 seconds of hang time for Presley. 33 yards on the punt. 7-0 Bulldogs against the Yellow Jackets.
That's a big punter.
Be bold, be confident, live fearless. And your local Chevy dealer, Georgia Drive Chevy.
Back in Atlanta, Georgia, Bobby Dodd Stadium. The Bulldogs lead the Jackets 7-0. Their last possession, 9 plays, 80 yards, and a touchdown pass.
Well, here's that 25-yard run by Njoku, and it goes out the other way, and then they come back the other way, and they get the entire defense flowing. You know, when something works, like we talked about that dive from the B-back earlier, when something works and doesn't Brett Thompson know it all opens up in this playbook. When it doesn't work, it can get really ugly, but it really is a thing of beauty when it all starts to click and it's running like a well-oiled machine. Let's see if they can do it from deeper in their own territory here to start this drive now.
Late in the first quarter. Going to run it on first down with Clay Harris. Showed you that Rainey connected with Raleigh Webb for that TD pass of 30 yards, James. Rainey has 3 TD passes this season, and they are all to Raleigh Webb, who is the leading receiver for this team.
Ball on the 17-yard line.
Well, both from Altoona High School hooking back up. There, Lake Altoona.
2nd and 6. Approaching 3 minutes to go in this first quarter.
4-yard gain there from that B-back, Clay Harris. That's a huge way to start this drive. It's exactly the way they started off on that last drive that ended up in 7.
Not a lot available for Brandon Rainey. Only 2 yards on that carry, and now it's 3rd down for the Citadel. Caleb Oliver. Chemedza also there for Georgia Tech.
Boy, they took out defensively. Andrew Thacker's defense took out that B-back Clay Harris on that time, and it was a good read by Rainey to gain 1 yard instead of go back the other way. 3rd down and 4 now.
Saw that the Citadel was 2 for 3 in 3rd down situations. Both of those came on that previous drive. It ended up in points, as James mentioned. The pitch. Sessions was separated from the football at the very end of the play. They spot it just beyond the 20. Tariq Carpenter coming up to make the tackle. And 2 yards.
Sorry, all kinds of stuff going on here. I thought maybe Curry would have jumped a little bit. And a nice job to go after that rock, get it out of there. You got to be careful with that backhand, too, and call you for a horse collar by pulling down. But still, this would have been a first down had he hung on to the football.
Yeah, Carpenter was able to poke that one away, James. We had a chance to chat with Carpenter yesterday. What an accomplished young man, challenged by Coach Collins, and he has answered the call this season, number 2 for the Jackets.
Should get his name on that turnover board, because that's similar.
Brown on the hop, laterally down that 30-yard line, and he runs out of real estate. Faulkner, special teams for the Citadel. 46 yards on the punt. The return, -4.
Here he is, ISO 25. Doing it all. Sean Thomas Faulkner, the special teams phenom. Lindsay told you off the top of the show he blocked 2 punts against Elon last week. And here he is doing a great job of getting down there and making sure that Georgia Tech has a long way to go to get to that paint. Special teams.
Yeah, both of those blocks by Faulkner resulted in Citadel touchdowns a week ago. Jerry Howard Jr. on the carry. There is no gain. Pursuit from Willie Eubanks, the 3rd from Augusta, Georgia.
Eubanks was busy last weekend against Elon. The captain of this ship defensively had 13 tackles, tied for a career-high 3 quarterback hurries. He's been very active here early in this game as we near the end of the first quarter.
And so far in the game, Lucas Johnson has been a quarterback for Georgia Tech. Just 1 for 5 through the air for Johnson so far in the game. 2nd and long. Flushed out of the pocket. Fights his way past the 35. Hit by Faulkner. 7 yards on the run by Lucas Johnson.
Again, there's Faulkner. I mean, one of the toughest things to do in sports is make an open field tackle like that. I mean, there's so much space for Lucas Johnson to go. Sean Thomas Faulkner steps up and drops him. Make a 3rd and 3. I mean, how many great athletes do you see out there in space like that? You give them a little wiggle, and they whiff. But what you got on 3rd and short now?
1 for 3 on 3rd down in the game for Georgia Tech. Johnson again, running out of that pocket and running for a first down beyond the 40 for Georgia Tech. Botkin forced him out. So a fresh set of downs coming up for Jeff Collins in Georgia Tech, but we've arrived at the end of the first quarter, and James, the Citadel has the 7-0 lead.
First time in the first quarter all season. They got 3 more to go, though. 7-0 right now, Bulldogs.
A little bit surprised, perhaps, at that first quarter score, 7-0. James, as we get a look at the first quarter stats.
Well, that time of possession down there, 9 minutes and 13 seconds of that first quarter. The ball belonged to the Bulldogs. And just chewing up that clock and marching down the field. And third downs, both teams 50%. And Georgia Tech will start it with a fresh set of downs here to start the second quarter now.
2 very important third down conversions for the Citadel on their scoring drive of 80 yards in the first quarter. Jordan Mason back towards the middle of the field. Pinballs his way down to the 45-yard line. Botkin had to make the tackle. First down, Jackets on 14 yards from Mason.
That's what I was talking about off the top. Just hungry. Watch number 9. Eubanks is the best tackler on this squad. He's got him dead to rights. No, he doesn't. Kept those feet moving. Now it's back across the grain and just pinballing his way, like you said, up into the paint.
From the 45, Oliver down to the 25-yard line. Tobias Oliver as Destin Mack made the tackle. 20 yards on that play. Back-to-back jump plays for Georgia Tech.
Well, Oliver, the true runner of these quarterbacks, and showing you right there, moving those chains, another first down. And there's a look at the numbers of Tobias Oliver here this season.
His first chance at quarterback today. Runs it right side. Turns the corner. Oliver dives for the pylon. Stepped out at about the 6.
Tobias had 12 rushing touchdowns last year. And you know, one thing about this revolving door at a lot of these spots, especially the quarterback spot, and there you see him stepping out right before he launches into the end zone, would have been a touchdown as he hit that pylon, and he's upset because he knows it. He couldn't quite keep it in bounds. But you sit over there, Tom, and you know you want to be the guy. You get hungry, and you get out there, and you're going to get everything you have and then some when you got to wait your turn sometimes.
To the 5-yard line, that's Jordan Mason.
Mason carries the ball.
3 plays prior to that, 14 yards, 20 yards, and 19 yards on the run by Tobias Oliver. And they're in the red zone. It's our CPI security red zone for Georgia Tech. 3 for 4 in the red zone this season for Georgia Tech, and that includes 3 touchdowns. Second and goal from the 5. Oliver directs some traffic and now whistles. And a timeout is taken.
Georgia Tech
by the Yellow Jackets. Got to be careful early in the second quarter and deep in Bulldog territory, trailing. Nothing. The Citadel has the lead on the strength of a first quarter touchdown, but Georgia Tech is knocking on the door. They've got history in the Southern Conference. Citadel's a member of the conference currently, but from 1922 to 32, Georgia Tech in the SoCon, and they joined the SEC and then onto the ACC. First year of football in the ACC was 1983, and that takes us right to the Aflac Trivia Quiz. You heard the duck. Here's the question. Which 2 current ACC teams lost to Georgia Tech in Tech's final season in the SoCon, 1932? We will answer that question in mere moments. That is your Aflac Trivia Quiz. 8th play of the drive coming up for Georgia Tech with Tobias Oliver in at quarterback. It's a low snap. Oliver tosses it out to the end zone and a touchdown. Jordan Mason took the flip from Oliver and into the end zone.
Oliver cool and calm. Watch him pitch this ball. He gets up there, first goes down low to get it, holds the defenders off of him with his left hand. Right hand delivers a perfect strike right into the belly of his big man 27. He knows exactly what to do with it.
Extra point is no good.
To go into the first half. The score is now
So 7-6 on the missed extra point. The drive.
Yeah, Tom capped it off, but who got the drive alive, who got it going was Tobias Oliver, inserted into the game, had that 20-yard run, 19-yard run, and truly a spark.
So 7-6, early second quarter. There will be no return from the Citadel in Bulmer. Let's check in with Lindsay on the sidelines.
Thanks so much, Tom. I am down here in the stands with Stephanie Rainey, Brandon Rainey's mother. Stephanie, thank you so much for doing this. Brandon has already thrown for 1 touchdown here today. What's it like to see him play so close to home since you guys are from about 30 minutes away?
It's so exciting to be here so close to home. And that first touchdown pass was actually to Raleigh Webb. And the two of them have played since they were 6 years old together. Pee-wee ball, high school ball, college ball. So that was a sweet thing for all of his high school coaches that are here to see today.
That's awesome. Well, speaking of Pee-wee ball, what's this journey been like for you to see him play Pee-wee ball and then to be able to now see him as a starting college quarterback?
It's very exciting and it's very humbling. He's always been a very humble and caring kid. So when you see good things happen to kids like that, it really makes it extra exciting. Thanks so much. Thank you.
Guys.
Well, Lindsay, we got a flag down here.
Sportsmanlike conduct, taunting, number 22, defense. His first of the game toward disqualification. 15-yard penalty, first down.
Gotta be careful out there. And Lindsay, Mama Rainey, her son's stirring it up a little bit out there on the field. Wasn't that, you know what? That just makes you feel good. The smile on her face. It's game day, y'all. Her shirt. Here's a look of it. Look at the end of it.
It's now first and 10.
This is just a little bit too much. You know, they preach the effort defensively. They preach the swarm. Everybody flying around. Get all those hats to the ball. But you got to be smart. You got to know when to shut it down. Can't cost your team.
Play Harris for just a yard. So Caleb Oliver getting a breather now after that unsportsmanlike penalty against Oliver. 2nd and 9 now for the Citadel. And again, Rainey and Webb have combined for 3 touchdown passes this season. That includes one in this game of 30 yards in the first quarter, providing the scoring for the Citadel. They are 2 for 4 now on 3rd down. It's 2nd and long. And that's Harris up the middle. And before 3rd down, first a quick word from Works.
The Works Tri-Vac 3-in-1 Easy Switch from blow to vac is a game changer and a time saver. Your yard work champion.
Position flexibility, just like Works. They need to sponsor this team because that's what Jeff Collins does. You can do it all. It's like a Swiss Army knife. I need one of those back home. Here we go. Juice Crew's hopping, trying to get him off the field on money down. 3rd down and 6 for Citadel.
Rainey dancing around. Rainey hit at the 40 and knocked to the ground by David Curry. A loss of 4 on the play for the Bulldogs. There is a flag that comes out late.
Flag on the play, and it's going to help him out. Look at the protection up front. Rainey had time, but the secondary of Georgia Tech gave him nowhere to go, not just once, but twice.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, number 96 defense. His first of the game toward disqualification. 15-yard penalty and an automatic. First down.
There you go again. Tom, you talked about at the top of the show, just 4 penalties for Jeff Collins' team coming in. Fewest in the ACC. And everything was clean there. Great job by Curry.
Ball on the Georgia Tech 44.
And there you see him getting in the face of Rainey. And remember, it was USF that helped out Georgia Tech last week in this area in the game.
This is Rainey. Close to the first down marker. Campbell made the tackle for Georgia Tech. And it is a first down. Those sticks are rolling for the Citadel inside the 35-yard line.
Well, we talk about the wish list. Hashtag goals for Citadel. They don't have many hashtags. Their only hashtag goal is give me 3 or 4 on first down. But how about 10? Go get me 10. That's even better.
Rainey carried it 19 times for 41 yards and 3 touchdowns in that loss at Elon on the ground for Rainey. He'll pitch it. Bulmer. 3 yards for Bulmer on the run.
What a great job by Charlie Thomas. Charlie Thomas sitting out there and having nothing to do with that blocker. He shucks him, gets rid of him. And so not only is he setting the edge, but he's going to make the play as well. That's how you do it. And that's where it shows sometimes that these defenders, they've gone up against this triple option and they know what's coming at them and how to defend it. Let's see if they can do it now consistently.
Charlie Thomas had a couple of sacks last week against South Florida and was the linebacker of the week of the ACC. 2nd and 7 on the pitch. Bulmer toward the 20-yard line. Christian Campbell's number 10 in Tech Gold made the stop, but it's a first down on the run by Remus Bulmer, the graduate student.
Tom, just as I brag on Charlie Thomas about defending this look, here he is right here on the other side. Now watch him, and he's going to get cut. He's not going to go down to the ground, but he lets that offensive player get into his legs, and that's what springs it. That's what springs the edge, and that's where you let your guard down for one play, and they can come back and hurt you. But that's a good look at the good and the bad of defending this triple option.
10 yards on the previous play for the Citadel. This a more modest gain for Clay Harris into the center of the line inside of 9 minutes to go in the quarter. David Curry makes the tackle for Georgia Tech.
I'm sure a lot of football fans, you take a look at this. Who's Jeff Collins and Georgia Tech have this week? They start with Clemson. They lost to the #1 team in the nation. Then they beat Charlie Strong's team. And quite a turnaround from last year. You talk about a contrast. They got beat down at USF last year. And you're like, oh, Citadel? Oh, they'll handle them fine. But if you turn on that tape, Elon is a pretty good football team. Towson, a pretty good football team, and picked to do big things at their levels. Their first 2 losses.
You mentioned that game, James, last year at South Florida, a 49-38 loss for Georgia Tech, but they allowed 426 yards in that game. Last week, they only allowed 262 to South Florida. Here's a player down on one knee. That is Drew McIntyre for the Citadel. McIntyre's a senior from Calhoun, Georgia. He's going to exit the ball game for a moment. So 3rd and 6 for Brent Thompson. Citadel finished strong a season ago. They won 3 of their last 4 games. The only loss was at Alabama at the end of the season. Flag comes out of the play. The run is well short, maybe to the 15 by Clay Harris, but we'll sort out the penalty marker. Just a yard on the play for the Citadel. It's going against the Bulldogs.
Personal foul, shot block, numbers 54 and 57, offense. 15-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Well, they can still go low in this triple option blocking scheme, but you can't go low and high. Very dangerous to have a guy up on your pads up top and then somebody to take out your legs. Nothing to go down and defend. And it's a big old penalty, and for good reason, because somebody can get hurt, but now it brings up a 3rd down and 21. Want to be careful and not turn the football over. So what's going to be a swarming defense here now with their ears pinned back, trying to get off the field.
Toss it out. Dante Smith. Smith towards the 20-yard line. But well short of the first down as Wanye Thomas, number 1, made the tackle for Georgia Tech. And another penalty flag. And this was late as well, James. All of a sudden in this quarter, this game marred by penalty flags. Unfortunately, we've seen a lot of our
illegal block in the back, number 22, offense. 10-yard penalty. Third down.
So Stuart Mullins has the official word. Webb flagged for the infraction. He's got the TD grab of the game for the Citadel. That was back in the first quarter. Citadel SoCon champs in 2015 and 16.
You hear announcers say it all the time, coaches as well. There aren't many plays in the playbook for third down and 20 plus. I think that playbook is even smaller, the list that you have when you run this kind of offense. And again, it's so tough to get it all. So just kind of cut your losses and continue to protect that football. The number one priority for the Citadel. For the guys in the Tech Gold, getting that rock.
You don't see it very often, but it's 3rd and 31. Rainey the pass. It's intercepted at the 35. David Curry for the Yellow Jackets. And up to the 44. Flag on the play. Several of them.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct. Number 93 of the intercepting team. His first of the game toward disqualification. 15-yard penalty. First down, Georgia Tech.
TK Chemedza on the personal foul.
And that's
sportsmanlike conduct, James.
Sorry, that's the 3rd personal foul of the game. Here's Curry right here. Reads it the whole way. There's no real play fake, so he's dropping right into coverage. And a nice job to go up and get that football and pull it down and get it back to your guys. But, you know, here's offensively, though, Tom, you have success running it. For a guy like Curry, why not sell the run so you freeze those linebackers? If there's no run fake, he's dropping right into coverage, watching that quarterback's eyes, and Rainey throws it right to him. But still, Jeff Collins and this coaching staff for Georgia Tech, they are going to be hot in this halftime locker room with three unsportsmanlike penalties, big penalties, and now it takes you back 15 yards and hoping that they can pick right back up where they left off with Oliver.
Oliver to the 30-yard line. The interception by Curry, first of the season for him, and 3rd of the year for Georgia Tech to take back possession with inside of 6.5 minutes to go in the second quarter. Tobias Oliver on that scoring drive for Georgia Tech went over 1,000 yards rushing for his career, looking for a pass completion beyond the 45-yard line to Tyler Davis, and it's broken up by Chris Beverly.
There's the transfer from UConn. They had to have transfers come in to get a tight end, and you know, it's just the arms got short by Tyler Davis. That's all there is to it. He heard Beverly coming. A great break on the ball by Beverly. A sophomore from Tallahassee. Make a 3rd down and 7. Nice play, but you got to go up and catch that.
And for this play, Lucas Johnson has returned to the game. He started the game for Georgia Tech. Also started last week against South Florida. We did see all 3 quarterbacks against the Bulls a week ago in a winning effort for Georgia Tech. Johnson got away from the initial pressure, but can't get past the 25-yard line and goes down. Beverly on the play for the Citadel. It's 4th down.
ACC fans know the name Grantham. It's Tony Grantham, though. No, not Todd that used to be up there at Louisville. And Tony Grantham drawing it up, getting the defense in there hungry, and knocking down Georgia Tech, and a chance to get the ball back here with 5:45 left in the first half.
Harvin punts to Lane Botkin from the 32-yard line. Botkin kept his balance for a moment and stopped at the 33. The punt was 43 yards. The return was 4. 7-6. Atlanta, Georgia. So glad that you're with us. You got a peek at that score. That's right. The Citadel leads Georgia Tech 7-6. This is the 11th all-time meeting between the teams. Georgia Tech has won the previous 10. They have not played since 2001.
You know, you hear this is a game of momentum so much ad nauseum. And look at the momentum that Georgia Tech gained with the interception. Then you get the penalty, and then you go the other way, and you're forced to just punt it away.
Bulmer Puts his head down near the 39-yard line. Well, this season, Georgia Tech is honoring the memory of number 90, Brandon Adams, passed away in late March at 21 years old. Played 33 games in a Georgia Tech uniform. In each game, a teammate will wear his number 90 this season. And for more on that, let's go down to Lindsay.
That's right, Tom. You said it. Coach Collins picks a player every week to wear the number 90. Now, Coach Collins said the number one thing about Brandon was that he was a great teammate. So that's the biggest requirement to earn the right to wear his number. Junior Chris Martin was Brandon's best friend, wore the number 90 for the season opener against Clemson, and then Tyler Cooksey wore it last weekend. This week, Nathan Cottrell has earned the right to wear number 90. Coach Collins said that Nathan is a very selfless player with a great attitude and just a great all-around person, certainly a perfect fit to embody the honor of wearing number 90.
Absolutely an honor, Lindsay. And a rising senior, Brandon Adams was a business administration major. And you open up the media guide and you see that great big smile, and it hurts. It just hurts for his family and all of his teammates, all of his Georgia Tech family. So really special.
Randy stopped for no gain. And you also saw in the tunnel, James, the last thing that those Georgia Tech players see when they walk out is that number 90. And they will honor their teammate all season long, Brandon Adams, the number 90 in that tunnel for Georgia Tech.
There it is, and of all the inspirational tools, all the new bling that they've got in that tunnel, just that tunnel alone, let alone inside the facilities, that probably hits them the hardest and is the most special and the biggest motivational tool that anybody could throw up there. They're playing for their buddy, Brandon, every snap.
Late in the second quarter, Bulldogs with the football. Clay Harris carries the ball. He got 3 yards on the carry. Chemedza's in there on the tackle. Griffin as well. Third down for the Citadel. 2 for 5 on third down. But again, those 2 third down conversions came on their scoring drive in the first quarter, which resulted in a 30-yard TD pass from Rainey to Webb.
Well, and then there was an unsportsmanlike penalty just a few moments ago that helped him on what would have been a stuff on a third down, gave him the first down. You got to be careful and clean here as well.
Flag is out on this third down play.
Tom, it might be Georgia Tech lining up offsides.
Stuart Mullins.
Offside. Defense. 5-yard penalty. Third down.
James, I like Stuart Mullins. He's a great guy, but we have seen way too much of him here in the second quarter.
Way too much. And I mean, it's just little things. Little things. It's... You can't lose sight of with all the excitement, with all the energy and the flying around. It's just some of those little fundamentals and these penalties, momentum killers. And it's possibly going to keep this drive alive now with a third down and 1 if they can convert.
Rainey behind his blockers, another second effort, and it appears that Rainey has enough near that 41-yard line. Georgia Tech coming into today, third fewest penalties in the country, and fewest in the ACC. They've got 3 personal fouls in this game as well. Unsportsmanlike conduct.
How big is that one? You're going to get a chance to get the ball back. And Thompson wants a timeout now to talk this over. So each team with 2 left. And instead of
7-6, the Bulldogs with the lead late in the second quarter and driving the football into Jacket territory. Time for today's Greatness Made Here. It's brought to you by Synovus. And it's Paul Johnson who led this program to great heights here on the Plains here in Atlanta. Retired after last season. Ran that unique offense that gave opposing teams headaches every time they hit the field. Coach Johnson here from 2008 to 2018 and 82 wins. A couple of Orange Bowls. Success at Georgia Southern, which was a former member of the Southern Conference. Success at Navy as well. Greatness made here, brought to you by Synovus, made here by head coach Paul Johnson. First down for the Citadel. It's Clay Harris on the carry.
As much as I enjoyed sitting down with Jeff Collins yesterday, got to admit, I miss seeing Paul Johnson around here too. But the changes, even the music changes. You go from talking about George Jones to Tribe Called Quest. It's across the board. Yep, they meant so much to so many people around here. Paul Johnson. Always a blast to sit down with him.
#21 is Remus Bulmer. On that little pitch, Georgia Tech was waiting for him.
Flying around. Stadium PA announcer said a host of Yellow Jackets. He's absolutely right. Swarming the football, but there's one that's down back near where the ball was snapped.
Brentavious Glanton is number 97, James. That last play by the Citadel, their 30th rush of the game for 126 yards in this first half as they attend to Glanton. 6'3", 302, the senior from Albany, Georgia.
See if we can see it right there in the middle. They're on the outside with Bulmer. If you have a defense it's good to see him up and getting off there on his own. Hopefully he'll be all right and be able to play in that second half. But Bulmer cutting it back sometimes. Sometimes even against this defense, it's going to be there for you. But now when you've got about 4 or 5 white hats just swarming to the football like we saw right there, absolutely smothered, nowhere to go. So here's your 3rd down and 4 now.
Godek, the place kicker, getting loose. Again, 30 rushes in the game for the Citadel. Here's number 31 on the pitch. First down, and Njoku near the 22-yard line. 8 yards on the run.
Again, Ryan McCarthy. He's going to be outside here, right there, blocking his guy. And it does a great job to extend that field. Defensively, they know this. And I think that was our guy, Tariq Carpenter there. You got to step up and be physical and set that edge. Tariq Carpenter's a big old guy and a strong guy. You know the deal right there. And here's movement to go back the other way. I beg your pardon. It's timed out by Jeff Collins. So here's Carpenter. Oh, this will be perfect. And so you see Tariq. I'm sorry, that is number 3, and it's not number 2. That was Trey Swilling. Regardless, Trey Swilling, they actually moved Johnny Kerr from his nickel spot to the other corner spot. He started today for that reason right there. Because he's more physical. He's better against the run. He's a better tackler. Trey Swilling, you got to want it. You got to fight. You got to sit down. And it's got to mean something to you to hold it right there. It's 3rd down and 4. This is the Citadels going in trying to score on your football team and stretch their lead. End the first half, and you got a chance to shut them down. You got to help your teammates out.
53 seconds to go in the half. Citadels run the ball 31 times. Georgia Tech has had 21 plays in total on offense. Pitch. Dante Smith near the 15-yard line. Carpenter made the tackle. Let's return to our Aflac trivia quiz. We asked you which 2 current ACC teams lost to Georgia Tech in its final season in the Southern Conference back in the early 1930s. The answer to our Aflac trivia quiz. Any guess, James Bates?
Yeah, I don't. I don't know who was in there, but I'm anxious to see.
It's 2 current ACC members, so I'll give you that hint. So here comes the Duck. The Duck says Aflac. We give you the answer. It's the Clemson Tigers and the North Carolina Tar Heels.
Honor and knowledge.
Clemson, big game tonight on the road at the Dome against Syracuse. North Carolina losing on the road against Wake Forest in a non-conference game last night. To the end zone for Rainey, who prior to that pass had been 1 for 1 in the game. A touchdown pass and an interception. 1 for 2 in the game, the TD pass and the interception by Curry. McCarthy was the intended receiver.
Money down.
Third and short. 43 seconds to go in the second quarter for the Citadel.
Still 2 timeouts left for Brent Thompson's team, too. And we showed you that shot of Godek earlier. Remember, it was right before the half. Against Alabama, he hit a 48-yarder last season to tie it at 10.
Timeout for the Yellow Jackets. Let's reflect back on that first quarter. Here's the only completion of the game. 30 yards, Rainey to Webb.
Beautiful set up by Njoku a couple plays prior. Here's a nice little pitch from Oliver to Mason for the only point scored for Georgia Tech. And there's that nice interception, David Curry. One of those 15-yard penalties came right on the heels of it to steal some of that momentum away. And for the most part, even though it hasn't felt electric and like a whole bunch of momentum, it really doesn't matter to Brent Thompson and his crew. They've been in control, a nice and calm control, which is the way you want it, running this triple option machine. Now can they keep this alive with 2-yard gain here?
0 for 1 in the red zone of the game. Rainey runs it. First down, 12-yard line, 3 yards, Brandon Rainey. Antoine Owens on the stop for Georgia Tech, but not before a first down for Brent Thompson and the Bulldogs.
Well, goes back to he'll get us 4. Good play, bad play, he'll get us 4. He needed 2. He got 2 and then some. Fresh set of downs.
Rainey lost it to the end zone. Broken up and incomplete. Ryan McCarthy was in that back corner with Trey Swilling, who got a piece of it and knocked it away from McCarthy.
Great job by Swilling. He's right there in his hip pocket, sees the ball, sees those eyes get big, and you're taught as a corner, you're taught as a defensive back, those hands go up, you got to rip through them, and he does just that. You can't catch that ball without your hands, and he goes right through those wrists. Very physical that time against the pass. Would have liked to have seen it earlier against the run, but he makes up for it on that play.
20 seconds to go in the quarter. 2nd and 10 Citadel. From the 12-yard line of Georgia Tech. Rainey to pitch. Dante Smith at the goal line and in for the score. Dante Smith for the Bulldogs. Touchdown Citadel. 13-6. Extra point pending.
I don't know if they're calling it a touchdown now.
Well, they're saying the 3-yard line right now is where they're marking the ball.
They'll look at it. They'll go look at it here.
The official who was right on the pylon, James, gave the touchdown indication.
Rainey's giving it too,
isn't it? The play of a touchdown is under further review.
So there's no pylon to hit.
The previous play is currently under review.
Well, James, here's the thing I see when I first look at that. I didn't see him step out of bounds anywhere in that
Oh,
video.
no.
I'll just say that. Whether that ball broke the plane or not, because it's in his right hand, and then he gets spun around,
Right.
that's to be determined. So it appears right there he may have.
It does, but with what is now we're finding out the call on the field, this will be our best look right here. This will be our look, because you can put those other 3, piece them all together. And it certainly looks like, there's no pylon to tell. He would have hit a pylon. This should be a touchdown. By piecing the 3 of those together, can you say absolutely this would have been a touchdown, enough to overrule it? I say yes, but it's still a little bit cloudy. But I say this should be a touchdown right here for the Citadel.
Now, that was the call on the field, so they're marking the ball for the extra point right now, if the call stands.
After further review, ruling on the field stands.
So you need indisputable video evidence to overturn the call, which on the field was touchdown. And the call will stand, and a touchdown for the Citadel. 12 yards on that play.
Wow.
At first, it appeared that they were marking him out of bounds, but the replay clearly showed that he was not out of bounds. He did not step out of bounds. And the ball, based on the replay, broke the plane as well. Again, that was the initial call.
Right.
Touchdown on the field. I saw the official who was right on top of the pylon signal touchdown.
You were all over it.
I saw that.
Never
That's
saw
what I saw.
anybody.
And you know, James, I wait until I see that official designation.
Because you've got to wait. That's what you got to do,
That's
right?
malfunction. It is not working. There are 15 seconds remaining in the second quarter. The clock will be kept on the field by the side judge.
What a weird ending to the second quarter, James.
Unless you're a Bulldog fan, and then it's just a beautiful ending. You don't care. It's crazy and cool at the same time. Actually, you know, we are in Atlanta after all. TLC, it's crazy, sexy, cool. I'll go that far. But how about this?
And yesterday was Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Not today, which would be Saturday the 14th. Extra point. Godek. 14-6.
Brent Thompson's guys, they've had to deal with one more hurricane here this season.
Our 5-star drive summary is brought to you by Yellowwood. 13 plays, James, 67 yards, and it's Smith from 12 yards out, the rushing TD, and that is his first of the season.
Well, he's dealt with a bit of a shoulder injury. And Dante, we talked about Godek, the kicker, doing a good job against Bama last year. He had a big game against Alabama, and they usually, you know, he's one of those guys. We got to get it to him 4 or 5 times a game. We have to get it to him, and it paid off right here. We've seen him carry it a couple times here today and doing an excellent job. But you know what? It doesn't work in this offense unless you've got those guys on the edge blocking, and I believe it was Keontae Sessions who delivered a big blow on the perimeter to spring him. And a nice fight there by Dante Smith to get it in. But you know what? Brent Thompson was getting into it 3 of the last 4 years. They've had to deal with these hurricanes. And Dorian, you know, they had to leave town for about a week and go training. Just you can only imagine what it's like to uproot and go and do that. That was before the Elon game. They've been back home this past week. But they seem locked in right now anyway in the first half.
Yeah, they went to Travelers Rest, South Carolina, near Greenville, to train for the week. Up near the 30 and taken down, that was Nathan Cottrell, who's wearing that number 90 for his teammate Brandon Adams. Flag on the play. Cottrell on the return for Georgia Tech. Stuart Mullins is the referee. Remember, he said the clock was malfunctioning, so we're trying to determine how much time is also left here in the second quarter. It's not a lot. It's just seconds.
There is no foul for unsportsmanlike conduct after the play. There are 5 seconds remaining in the second quarter.
Now, there was no unsportsmanlike conduct there, but there were 3 called against Georgia Tech in this first half.
Well, so there's a Jacket player that is lucky that there was a no call, that they picked up that flag, because Jeff Collins is going to be upset enough already. So what happens now? Do they just, since the clock's not working, have the PA announcer just go 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi?
That's a good suggestion.
Can I do it?
I don't think there's going to be much of a play here with Lucas Johnson in there at quarterback. And they will take a knee. How about that score? 14-6. Citadel possessing the football 20 minutes and 38 seconds in the first half.
And thank you, Lindsay. And you know what? Maybe more than ever, I would have liked to have been able to see both of those halftime locker rooms. What was going on in Georgia Tech? And also, let's do this in the Citadel locker room.
Smith takes the bounding ball from inside his own 5. Up the sideline and near the 25-yard line. Dante Smith. And a flag. Flag on the play. 27 yards on the return. Brian Horn made the tackle for the Citadel. Stuart Mullins with a lot of airtime today.
Personal foul. Late hit out of bounds. Number 31, kicking team. 15-yard penalty. First down.
3 for you, 1 for me. Just helping them out here. Oh, my goodness.
That is Von Ramsey, number 31. Flag for the late hit.
I mean, you just got to be smarter than that.
So that'll put the ball at the 43-yard line of Georgia Tech. Opening moments of our third quarter, so glad that you're with us. Perhaps a little more competitive than the Yellow Jackets would have preferred. They will run on that first play. Jordan Mason, number 27. Best starting field position of the game for Georgia Tech. Time for today's Principal Financial Group game plan. James, what do you got?
Back to the original. Back to the original. Back to those original keys, right? Just keep on marching. Forward march. They've done it for the most part. Citadel just keep marching forward. And Georgia Tech, remember what it is to go up against this offense. Remember your fits. Remember how physical you have to be when they're going at your knees all the time and how different it is. And there have been flashes where they've forgotten how to defend a little bit on the perimeter. They got to get back to it. Just gets down to who wants it more sometimes with some of those blocks.
Lucas Johnson is the quarterback to start the second half, and he does not like what he sees. A timeout by Georgia Tech in the first minute of the third quarter on 2nd and 9.
They're unable to capitalize on any momentum at all. It's Jeff Collins. It's so much of it is about, yesterday it's just so much of it is about energy, positive, going forward. Let's keep it going. But when you have these penalties, when you have these stutters and hit these speed bumps, it can kill you. I mean, you've been aided by a 15-yard penalty here to open this second half. I can only imagine the talk that was going on there in that locker room, and then you come out and you've got to burn that time out. It's just not the way that you want to operate. You want to just get in their full metal jacket coming out of that locker room and put it on them. You've got them on their heels with field position to start.
Again, the Jackets have won all 10 previous meetings between the teams. Tobias Oliver has come in at quarterback. He will run it for just a yard up to the 45-yard line. So Johnson was in there for the first play. They had some miscommunication. Oliver comes back in for the second play. And now Lucas Johnson will trot back onto the field for 3rd and 8. 2 for 5 on 3rd down in the game for Georgia Tech. This is after a personal foul, James, gave Georgia Tech its best starting field position of the game on this drive. Johnson back to pass. Floats it over the middle. It's knocked away. Looking for Tyler Davis. And Faulkner deflects that football.
MVP, defense and special teams, doing a good job. He's seeing the break what they're trying to do to him. Tyler Davis, he's been targeted twice. This is a vet. This is a senior, the transfer from UConn. He's got to be physical. We saw earlier just kind of the alligator arms when he felt the hit coming. That time too. But who wants it more? Who's going to fight to get that football? And that time, Faulkner answers the question and answers the call to get him off the field.
Harbin on the punt to Botkin. He's going to let it bounce and roll inside the 10, inside the 5.
Harbin's punt down at the 4-yard line.
Cottrell downs that punt by Harbin. The Citadel has the ball, but he does reference the game tonight. We'll see, James, at the Dome. Last time Clemson was there, it lost to the Orange.
It's 1st and 10.
And it was also a weekend that started with a Friday the 13th, it looks like.
That is our Toyota tweet of the week. Keep them coming. We love it. Big on social media. Right now, the worst starting field position of the game for the Citadel. But they feel pretty good. James, what did you make of those comments by Brent Thompson, who appeared to be going a mile a minute when he came out to talk to Lindsey? He was ready to roll, my man.
Oh, he was. He's got to be excited. It's been a rough start to the season, as we were talking about the Hurricanes with starting 0-2. But, you can only imagine how good it must feel to put it together like they did in the first half. And, not a good place to start unless you do exactly the way you draw it up for this offense and you march down all the way and eat up 13 minutes on the clock here to end the third quarter. First things first, you got to get a first down here.
Toss out near the 9-yard line for Dante Smith, who has a 12-yard TD run. That came in the second quarter. Carpenter on the tackle, and Citadel had 153 yards rushing in the first half on 34 carries. They got 3 on that play, and it's third down.
Big Tariq Carpenter from the safety spot in the win over the USF Bulls last weekend. He had 13 tackles, 2 for loss. He's really fun to watch in the open field. Makes up his mind he's going to go make the drop. He gets there in a hurry and athletic enough to drop those backs. Here they need 5 yards, though, to move those chains.
5 for 8 on third down. The game for the Citadel. Out of Charleston, South Carolina, and the Southern Conference and the football championship subdivision. That's Clay Harris into the arms of David Curry, and a flag is out.
Georgia Tech is being issued a warning for sideline interference. Their first of the game. This results in no penalty yardage. It's fourth down.
The key phrase, no penalty yardage. Yet they got warned. You've been warned.
You've been warned. Jeff Collins gave the thumbs up.
They gave the thumbs up, James, because they stopped him on third down, right? 4th and short now, and a punt from deep in their own territory. In fact, out of the end zone by Matt Campbell.
They're going to need this sophomore to hit a big... They'd love another 67-yarder like he had against Elon last weekend.
How about Coach Collins' last 2 years as the head coach at Temple? 15 wins.
Oh.
That one went sideways. I think it's Coach Collins down there trying to make the call on this one near the 35-yard line. That's where he wants it.
Get him a zebra shirt.
That's where he's got to get it.
The Works Trivac, available at trivac.com. And the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs. Choose VA today. Visit va.gov.
Back in Atlanta, the Citadel in front of Georgia Tech, which has a 33-1-1 record against the football championship subdivision. That only lost back in 1983 against Furman, 17-14. The tie was also against Furman. That was in 1986.
Over the past few years under Paul Johnson, I've been in here a couple times early where they've stumbled a little bit early in the first half, but turned it around to make it lopsided in the second half, and hoping to do more of the same here. Nice field position to start, that's for sure.
Lucas Johnson going deep towards the end zone, adjusting to the football and making the catch for a touchdown. It's Jalen Camp, 33 yards on the play.
Lucas Johnson.
Well, Tom, same way they started this game, they start the second half, and it's one shot, and it's exactly what you needed. Bodkin was in great position, and Jalen Camp didn't even have to push off. He just let Bodkin run on by, was in great position. You can't lose feel of that body, and here they'll go for 2 right now to try to tie it up at 14.
Johnson sends Jordan Mason wide, looking his way. Johnson fires it to the goal line, and it's caught. And Camp has the 2-point conversion and the 33-yard TD reception off the arm of Lucas Johnson.
Jalen Camp for the 2-point conversion. 10:50 to go in the third quarter.
Empty set, you've got 4 wides to the right when Mason gets out there in motion, and just you've got 4 guys to cover, but guys that look lost in coverage there on the Citadel and leaving them the Camp out right there. Speaking of Camp, here's Jalen Camp. Just coming back and getting that ball. Lucas Johnson putting it up there where his guy can go get it. And again, Bodkin, the sophomore, is in position, but that's why you can't lose. That's why you got to have a feel. You get in that spot, right in that hip pocket, right in phase, as they call it. But once you lose contact with that offensive player, it makes it so easy for him to separate. It makes it so easy for you to just run on by. And taking advantage of it, the Yellow Jackets, and now we're tied at 14. Thanks to Johnson to Camp.
First TD catch of the season for Camp. First TD pass of the season for Lucas Johnson. Fair catch indication.
Fair catch, number 21, Remus Bulldog.
Before the Citadel goes on offense, first a quick word from Advance Auto Parts.
I can sign 12 autographs in 6 seconds. So reminding you to check your battery this fast, easy.
So the Citadel takes over. That catch by Jalen Camp, his first of the season on the TD, and then he also caught the 2-point conversion. And we're tied at 14. It's amazing how things work out sometimes. Right before that long TD pass, we showed you a graphic that Georgia Tech has only lost once to a team from the football championship subdivision. And that was against Furman back in 1983 as Clay Harris hops over the 40 and moves the sticks for 15 yards.
Boy, look at the surge. A lot of times you talk about the penetration on the defensive side, disrupting an offense. How about the penetration? Just the surge and getting off the spot by that offensive line right there in front of Rainey and Clay Harris. Haas is the center, spearheading that charge, and a nice big chunker on first down.
Harris again. This will be 3 yards for Harris. Conversely, James, for the Citadel, they have had some success against the Football Bowl subdivision. They're 8-50 in their history. Their last win was against South Carolina in 2015 in late November. They beat the Gamecocks 23-22. That was their 8th win against the Football Bowl subdivision. 2015. There's a lot of moving parts right now in this game with 9:42 and rolling on the clock in the third. Rainey. Looked like Wanye Thomas provided some punishment to Rainey, who was one tough customer. 6 yards on the rush from Brandon Rainey as we check in with Lindsay.
Thanks, Tom. I got a chance to speak with some of the Citadel players earlier this week, asking them what the message was from the coaching staff after the tough first 2 losses. And he said, well, we played 2 tough teams and we were able to hang with them. Just got to keep your heads up. Got to get over that hump because losing just isn't acceptable.
Well, and they got their heads up right after that touchdown to tie it. How about this, Lindsay? Another first down. So here comes Georgia Tech. One hit, boom, they score. They go for 2, get that easily. It's tied at 14. All the momentum, you can feel it. It's now on the side of the guys, the home team. But it doesn't matter to Rainey in this offense. They just come right back out and do their job. And this is a big answer for Citadel to show that they're not just going to fold up the tent and head back to South Carolina. You know, you mentioned about the 28 players being from right here in Georgia and how excited they are. How about that South Carolina win? You know, there's a lot of South Carolina kids there, too, a couple of years ago. That must have been huge.
Pitch out to Smith. And that's enough for a first down to the 33-yard line of Georgia Tech as Dawson made the tackle for the Jackets.
It's working inside, so now I'm going to cheat inside a little bit. And now I'm going to outside again. Come on, Trace Bruin. Come on, man. Go up there and just take them on. Take them on. Be physical. He knows exactly what the coaches need of him. He knows exactly how to go up and fight this. Andrew Thacker and company have coached him up all week long. They got to help to set that edge on the outside.
12 yards on the previous play. This will be Clay Harris going up the middle. That's 5 yards for Harris. A lot of credit to this offensive line as well, James, for the Citadel. They have come to play today against Coach Collins and the Jackets, looking for back-to-back wins at home.
Got those helmets dinged up a little bit, don't they? That's kind of nice. You know, everybody spends so much time buffing up the helmets for every Saturday. It's kind of nice to see those scar marks on it. See what's been going on there in camp and in those first 2 games.
Going to bring up third down at about 3 for the Citadel. Only a yard on the play is on Antoine Owens, who made the tackle for Georgia Tech.
His guy, he just fills in where his guy left and just eats up that dive. They were money down. Trying to get off the field here, or at least force a fourth down and short.
Rainey close to it. And Rainey down inside the 22-yard line for a first down. 4 yards on the pickup for Brandon Rainey. Shouldn't he really wear number 4, James?
or a cape maybe.
Right?
Just all the intangibles that you want in a quarterback to run this triple option here at the Citadel. And he's just a leader, and he's showing you hear all these stories. You wish that you got to kind of follow him around and see what kind of leader he is off of the field, that you hear all the stories. But you certainly see it in action here today on the field as a player.
Rainey, some space to the goal line, and a touchdown on the ground from Brandon Rainey. 22 yards and a Citadel TD.
Hey, it's game day, y'all. That's the shirt that his mama had on when Lindsay talked to her earlier. She had that great big smile on her face then. How do you think she feels right now? Wow. And how about the answer for the Bulldogs after Georgia Tech finally seemed to grab a hold of that momentum, all that energy that we've talked about so much leading into this game, and they get it right back.
Godek. Brandon Rainey, 22 yards, 5th rushing TD of the 7 yards. The one pass completion was for a touchdown, and he just ran it in the end zone.
And then he goes double barrel Gatorade. Doing it all. You see that? Ambidextrous.
And inspired by a former teammate and friend.
So after that touchdown, he's over on the sidelines. There he is in the middle of that pack. What appears to be cramping up. But seconds after, right as we come back from break, we showed you the shot of him. He gets up from being dealt with the trainers, sprints over to the defense to get them fired up to go out and get a stop.
Rainey's team up 21-14.
Everything is earned. It's one of the many mantras that Jeff Collins has. They're going to have to earn this win, that's for sure. We're seeing that.
Johnson on the sprint, taken down beyond the 30-yard line. Aaron Reed, number 3 for the Citadel after a 6-yard gain for Lucas Johnson.
Uh-oh. Johnson holding that shoulder a little bit. Remember, he had the foot issue last year.
So the sophomore from San Diego, California needs assistance. And at Georgia Tech sideline, Tobias Oliver has come into the game. Oliver provided a serious spark in the second quarter when Georgia Tech went for a score, and there goes Oliver, second level. Into Citadel territory, and Reed is forced to make the tackle again. Oliver on the carry, he got 23.
First 2 games of the season, when you turn on the tape and you see guys that have some electricity to them, that are game changers. Yeah, there have been some good plays, but Jordan Mason and Tobias Oliver, when they get their hands on the ball and they get their shoulders turned north and south, they can really do some damage. And showing you right there, Tobias, just like he did a couple times in the first half.
Oh, he's taking off and running again. No question about it, to the 40-yard line and inside it for Oliver. And 7 yards on the play. He was the starter in the first game of the season at Clemson on a Thursday night, a loss on the road for Georgia Tech. And as we told you in the first half, he went over 1,000 yards in his career rushing. Dave Patno, the offensive coordinator, trying to dial something up here in the third quarter and respond to the touchdown by the Citadel to take a 7-point lead. And right now, James, the answer is number 8 in Tech gold. Got 4 there. Mack on the tackle.
Back to back to back, and why not? We talked about it at halftime. If there's a play or a player that's working for you, you keep feeding that horse all day long until they show you that they can stop it. Now, the one thing, though, with Tobias Oliver is he's not a great thrower. So as you get into the season and you get a feel, if you go more towards a one quarterback show, as Lucas Johnson heads into that locker room, still gingerly with that right arm. And there's another yellow jacket down.
That is Jahazel Lee, number 51.
So they've had some injuries on the offensive line. Mikey Minahan, Kenny Cooper were injured early last week.
They are attending to that left ankle area of Lee. Now that's the Johnson who went down to the right shoulder in discomfort immediately. And he went right to the sidelines, and as you just saw, went to the dressing room for further evaluation. Tobias Oliver has come in at quarterback, number 8 for Georgia Tech. 6'2", 190, and a sophomore from Warner Robins, Georgia. And we know he can run it, James. We've seen him on the last 3 plays, but here's the injury. We're trying to pick it up to Lee. Right at the tail end of the play, you see there, left ankle.
Yeah. Oh. And that's a lot of weight, and that's a lot of power that's going on. And that's the senior from Ponchatoula, Louisiana. You know, he's a guy that's been playing defense as well. So it's a double whammy. Hate to see that for him, as, you know, in his senior year especially, because my unprofessional, through my lens up here, I would guess it's like a high ankle type of thing, which just nags. I mean, that's just the only thing you can do to get a high ankle better is a lot of rest, and that's the last thing that he wants to hear, or Yellow Jacket fans want to hear.
Well, they're certainly taking every precaution as far as Lee's situation is concerned.
You know, and just to finish up with number 8, with the sophomore quarterback who's provided such a spark running the football here today, it's kind of what you get is when you look at a guy like Trevor Lawrence at Clemson, that this defense here at Georgia Tech had to go up against it in week 1. So the skill set of not only being able to pick up yards at will on the ground, but to be able to throw it as good as anybody in the country, and to have the weapons that they have at Clemson can make it so dangerous. But when you've got a guy that is it's more of a one-dimension guy, that, hey, we know he's going to run it, it's obviously, it goes without saying, it's easier for a defensive coordinator to game plan and take that away, but it'll drive him fits when they can do a couple things. And another thing that'll drive defensive coordinators fits is when you're rotating in 3 quarterbacks that all have different skill sets, which has been the case here.
So they're going to help Lee into the cart, get him back to the locker room area as well. Jahazel Lee, number 51, and a senior. Looks like Lee wants his teammates to pick up the slack here, James. Emotional send-off.
Team player, you know. Obviously, he's worried about that ankle, or worried about that leg, but he's more worried right now about getting that W as Yellow Jackets clap him off here, and Bulldog players tap him on the shoulder pads as well. Good to see.
So they'll take a look at Lee. Remember, Johnson also went to the locker room, the starting quarterback this afternoon for the Yellow Jackets. And Tobias Oliver has come in. He played some in the first half as well. Led him on a scoring drive. Finished by Jordan Mason in a 4-yard TD run in the second quarter. So Hamp Gibbs, number 68, will come in place of Lee. Oliver throws. Botkin made the tackle of Davis, but it was a loss of 2.
Nice job by Botkin. You know, a lot of times you'll see guys that'll go look up the blocker. Let me go. This guy's trying to block me. Let me take him on first. Hey, don't deal with him. Jalen can't. That's your guy. You got to go find a way. That ball's out, released. Go get him, and at least get in his way. At least cause some interference so you can give your guy a chance and don't go backwards.
That's Mason inside the 30 for 7 yards. And just moments ago, Jahazel Lee had to be carted off. He's one of just 11 seniors for this Georgia Tech team. How about this, James? 55 freshmen, including the redshirt freshman as well. Third fewest amount of seniors in all of the football bowl subdivision.
So many sophomores contributing, like Oliver, like Mason in the backfield right now.
Just 2 for 6 on third down. Mason working his way. Based on the spot, it's at about the 24. He might be a little bit short after the 5-yard gain.
Well, the initial lick was about 3 yards shy, but Mason just pumping those legs, and he will be short. Wow, big play here. Who wants it? Who wants it? 4th down and 1.
Georgia Tech went for it 34 times on 4th down last year and converted 53% of the time. Mason wants it, diving.
Mason carries the ball.
He's got to get to that 23-yard line.
I didn't think it was going to be close at first, but now
Citadel guys think it's turnover on downs.
And was it 25 Faulkner that came in again? They're going to measure it here.
Yes, it was, James.
Well, how about Faulkner coming in now? Faulkner's going to hit him low. Just trying to make that tackle. Gosh, he didn't make it. He didn't make it. Watch Faulkner come off that edge. You know, you're taught on the goal line anyway. If you hit them low, they're going to be able to lunge across into that goal line. Not really an option to go up high here. Wow. Wow.
How about a chain link? The Citadel holds. Stops them on 4th and short. And the cadets, the Knobs, the freshmen who have made the trip from Charleston, South Carolina, applauding that defensive effort from their classmates.
Sean Thomas Faulkner. Well, Lindsey Rowley in that crystal ball. Going to talk about him in the open, highlighting number 25. Hey, watch out for this guy. He's blocked a couple punts, and he has done it not only on special teams, we've seen him shine, but defensively time and time again as well, and just a sophomore.
Brandon Rainey for 3 yards. Rainey has a rushing touchdown in this quarter of 22 yards. Also a TD pass for Rainey, his 3rd of the season. That was in the first quarter and 30 yards to his good friend and teammate Raleigh Webb. 17 carries, 70 yards on the ground for Coach Thompson's quarterback, Brandon Rainey. Told you he's from nearby Ackworth, Georgia. Just did get it away at the last second. And Joku near the 30-yard line. David Curry with an angry tackle.
Angry, that's a good way to put it. Here's another look at it. And Curry, see the big dogs doing all the work up front there in the trenches. There's the hit on Rainey, who was cramping, it looked like earlier. David Curry's had a big day from that linebacker spot. Had the interception earlier. So without Njoku right here, as he's being looked at, they do have Clay Harris back there. They're starting to be back right behind Rainey. And they need 5 yards here.
They're going to get it and more. Past the 40. Remus Bulmer, head of steam. First down after a 12-yard gain.
Taking the punch to the guys in the gold jerseys. Look at all the hats on hats. And that guy, Johnny Kerr, the defensive back, steps up. He's more physical than a lot of those guys in the secondary room. And still, they they delete him from the play. You can't trade hat for hat. You can't catch. You got to take the blow to them. But on the other side, hats off to the Citadel for doing a great job of just taking the punch right to him right now.
Harris on the carry of the 45. James, we had a chance to talk to the Citadel coaches during the course of the week. And what they said to us was the easiest part of the day for these young men is when they go to football practice. Normally it's the other way around, isn't it, James?
You know, I used to do a lot of Air Force games, and that's exactly what they would say. It's a break. I remember was in college, and it was, you know, I mean, it was tiring, and sometimes you didn't always look forward to practice. But
Citadel has the lead after 3 quarters. And we welcome you into the 4th, brought to you by Lincoln Financial. James, Tom, what a development today, James. The Citadel coming here to Bobby Dodd Stadium. They've got the lead as we go to the 4th, 21-14.
An 0-2 start for the Citadel, having to bounce around because of Hurricane Dorian, moving their home base. They're back home, and they certainly don't look like a team that's had to have been curveball hitters here so far today. They're a well-oiled machine so far, and they haven't given up when the momentum seems to go the other way. Here's a scoring summary, and getting on the board first, the Citadel, their first score in the first quarter here this season. The pass from Rainey to Raleigh Webb. But then, of course, it's Mason and Georgia Tech to answer right before halftime. The great block there by Sessions. It's Dante Smith into the corner of the end zone. And so the Citadel with the halftime lead of 14-6. But quickly, Georgia Tech strikes Jalen Camp. The touchdown reception from Lucas Johnson. 2-point conversion good. Tied at 14, but then marching right back down the field.
Rainey with his 5th rushing touchdown of the season. Minutes away from the start of the 4th quarter. ACC football, and it's the team out of the Southern Conference, James, that has the lead after 3 quarters as we check out the numbers.
The lead and the ball, and this now starts to come into play. Time of possession, 30 minutes they've held on to the ball, almost twice as much as Georgia Tech. And if they can chew up this clock and put the ball in the end zone here, then it starts to get a little bit scary.
Clay Harris for 1 yard. Harris now has 75 yards rushing. Rainey has 70. That's 145 between them. That is more than all of Georgia Tech on the ground in this game. Georgia Tech has 142.
And a lot of those yards on the ground for Georgia Tech have come from the legs of Tobias Oliver. All right, money down. Defense trying to get paid in full up in here now. They got to get off the field.
Rainey, flag is out. It looked like a face mask.
It'll be another 15-yard penalty, and we saw that 3 of them in the first half.
Rainey's still down as well, James. He has
foul, face mask, defense, 15-yard penalty, and an automatic first down.
He has been a tough customer today, but it's clear he is in some discomfort on the field right now.
I don't think it's to the head or the neck, and you see why it can be so dangerous. And Wes Jackson knows exactly what he did. He knew he was wrong, didn't mean it, obviously. You're just grabbing for anything you can't grab as you go flying by. Tries to let go, but it looked like Rainey was grabbing his hip when he was down. But his backup.
Well, you see his legs, James, also got kind of pinned awkwardly under him. Looks like they're working on that left leg for Brandon Rainey.
Well, he's having a tough time just getting to his feet there. Hometown crowd and visiting crowd, the Citadel crowd alike, giving him a nice round of applause because they appreciate this effort from this young man here today.
The freshman cadets who made the trip from Charleston, South Carolina.
The leader of leaders.
Rainey's a junior. TD pass, a TD run. 3 TD passes on the season now for Rainey. 5 rushing touchdowns, but injured here and helped to the sideline with 14-14 to go in the 4th.
So here's Brian Murdaugh.
It's first and 10.
Quick number change. He was 10 on our roster, the backup quarterback for Citadel coming in. And Brian Murdaugh, not a lot of experience taking snaps here this year behind Rainey. Now be up to him.
This is the first action of the season for Murdaugh, junior. From Walterboro, South Carolina, flag on the play. Georgia Tech 6 penalties for 70 yards in the game, only had 4 coming into the day.
Illegal substitution, 12 players in the offensive formation. 5-yard penalty, first down.
They're counting them right now. That's Brent Thompson and the players out there are saying if we had 12, where is he? They'll call it as they're trying to run to the sidelines and get out, but they'll let the play run. They'll call it dead when it's in the formation, when there are 12 lined up in the formation.
Replay is looking to confirm the number of players on offense.
This actually happened in the Clemson-Texas A&M game, where they blew it dead and there weren't 12 on the field, and it was a safety.
For an illegal substitution, first down.
All right, so they checked now, and they checked it in the Clemson game as well, and they said no foul, but a lot of good that did Texas A&M because they had a safety on the play.
It's first and 10, ball on the 38-yard line.
Murdaugh, the new quarterback for the Citadel. First action of the season, he'll toss it. That'll be Smith. Rolling his way, shy of the 30-yard line. 8 yards on the play for Dante Smith.
Well, this is the triple option version, perhaps, of being safe with your quarterback. A lot of times the backup come in, they give him a little dump pass. It's, get it out of his hands in a hurry, put it into a playmaker's hands, and a nice pickup of 6 or 7 yards on first down by Dante Smith. And then they are taking care of the starter over there on the sidelines, Brandon Rainey.
Harris close to a first down at the 28-yard line. And if there's any shot that Brandon Rainey can get back into this game,
First down.
he's going to do it.
You can just tell by his body language right now that guy's not done for the day. And doing a fine job on these couple snaps right here is Brian Murdaugh, his backup. And another first down. Who's going to make a play defensively? Who's going to be the guy that's going to disrupt, take them out of their rhythm, turn the football over, make a big play, get it back in the hands of your offense?
Georgia Tech does have an interception today. That was by David Curry. Caleb Oliver made the tackle on Murdaugh after 5 yards. Looks like Chris Martin, who made the tackle, was in on the play, is also down. Slow to get up with 12:34 to go in the 4th. Junior from Loganville, Georgia.
Martin's the guy that won 90 in week 1 against Clemson that Lindsay was telling you about earlier. Best friends with Brandon Adams. Gosh, they've had some few dings here on this football team. Georgia Tech here today. Jahazel Lee, Lucas Johnson. Martin down now.
Yep, both of those players you mentioned were taken to the dressing room for further evaluation.
It's like Brandon Rainey's coming back out for the Citadel. And It's good to see Martin pop up and get off under his own power.
How about Rainey coming back into this game? His leg was pinned underneath him awkwardly on a running play moments ago.
Well, maybe he's not now.
Lucas Johnson has come back onto the sideline for Georgia Tech, so that's a good thing for them. He's the starting quarterback today. Murdoch remains in the game, and there's Brandon Rainey. Brooks comes in for Martin on that defensive line. Brooks wears number 86. And 2nd and 5. And that clock continues to tick. The enemy of the Yellow Jackets right now trailing by 7. Murdaugh, 15-yard line and a first down. Is that Brandon Rainey or is it Brian Murdaugh?
It's just that 6 turned upside down to the 9. Inside. Watch him take the punch to those guys in the yellow jerseys. How about this offensive line? Time and time again. Just when they need it the most. And just if you're a Georgia Tech fan, you want to see some punch coming from your side. You want to see your white hats owning that spear. You want to see them lunging across the line. Instead, they're taking it to them.
Approaching 300 yards rushing in this game for the Citadel, though they don't get much there, if any. In fact, it's a loss of 1. Jackson made the tackle. Citadel in the red zone. It's our CBI security red zone for the Citadel.
Forward march, that key to the game to start off, it's really worked well for them here today. They haven't gone backwards very much, and they've got to stay on pace. They've got to stay on track and ahead of those chains that you hear so much. But so much more important for a triple option offense, and they've done a good job for the most part today.
1 for 2, the touchdown in the red zone for the Citadel. Flag comes out. The runner, Smith, was cut down by the pursuit of Charlie Thomas, but there's another penalty flag.
Holding, number 5, offense, 10-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Boy, Charlie Thomas, he didn't need a flag. He didn't need anything. He made up his mind he was going to go make this play. Let's see if we can see it. Here it is right there. He's got a hold of his leg. Charlie Thomas, Wanye Thomas in there as well, but another sophomore. This sophomore class has a lot of talent. And just when you start talking about getting behind those chains, here's a perfect example. Everything looks good. 2nd down and 6, 2nd down and 5, 3rd down and 2, but 2nd down and 21 now.
A roadblock for Murdaugh. David Curry gets in the way. No gain on the play.
You know, you almost got a sense there that Murdaugh wasn't going to even come close to flirting with disaster. He immediately just kind of tucked it away to hold on to it. And another look over on the sidelines of Brandon Rainey, who's
trying to shake it off, James, but it's going to be tough, favoring the left ankle, it appears. I mean, how badly does he want to get back in this game? Although Murdaugh has done fine work and productive work coming in relief of Rainey. He'll pitch it. It was deflected and recovered by Harris back near the 35-yard line. Charlie Thomas deflected that pitch. Close call. Loss of 7. Citadel.
Wow. Just going backwards is almost out of field goal range. They've got a nice kicker. How about the reaction there by Charlie Thomas? He's got the quarterback and then on to the pitch and almost gets himself a tip to himself and one to the house. Very lucky there. Ball's been on the ground a couple times for the Citadel here today, and it's always bounced the right way. And here's a 4th down and forever now.
It's going to be a field goal attempt.
48-yarder by Godek against Alabama last year.
Godek for the field goal. It is no good.
The field goal attempt is no good.
Boy, he gave it a run, didn't he?
The Works Tri-Vac 3-in-1 Easy Switch from Blow to Vac is a game changer and a time saver. Your yard work champion.
Moments ago, a 50-yard attempt from Jacob Godet, who had been 0 for 1 on the season. And just that close, outside the right upright. And stay with it. Look at the grab right there in the front row. Celebrate the miss. That close, though, to 3 points for the Citadel.
You got to look like you know how to throw that ball back in, though. Wow. And what a big miss. Celebrating for good reason. Still keeps it a one-score game instead of a 24-14 game with 8:46 left to play.
Tobias Oliver at quarterback for Georgia Tech. First and 10 from the 33. Mason is the back. He has a touchdown run out in the second quarter of 4 yards, and that was an Oliver-led drive. Long pass to Camp, and it's on schedule at the 40.
Oliver's pass complete. The number 1,
Jalen Camp has the TD catch in this game, and a big play from Camp here.
Jalen Camp just camping out. There's nobody anywhere near. And not to take anything from a pass and a completion, but that ball right there, he had to wait on it so long. That ball's thrown out there in front of him in stride a little bit, and Jalen Camp's got touchdown number 2. But nonetheless, a nice completion from Tobias Oliver to Camp, and then backs it up with a nice run and a gain of 5 on first down to make it 2nd and 5.
They get 29 yards on the pass play. Jalen Camp's TD catch was 33 yards from Lucas Johnson in the third. Oliver, 25-yard line. First down, Georgia Tech. Destin Mack on the tackle of Tobias Oliver, the sophomore.
Well, some confusion on the defensive side and getting set up, shuffling around right before that snap and taking advantage of it. And just one thing that you notice about Tobias Oliver, you talk about good running backs, they all have good vision. Tobias Oliver has very good vision of what's going on in front of him, too.
To the right side, Mason to the goal line, diving in, and a touchdown. Jordan Mason on the run.
Jordan Mason carries the ball 25 yards into the end zone for the Georgia Tech touchdown.
And I know it's nice to share that rock with a lot of people on this offensive side of the ball, but those two guys, the 1-2 bunch of Tobias Oliver and Jordan Mason, they can take over a football game with just the athleticism and the speed like that, and not to mention blocking down the field. Jalen Camp, who had the catch to start this drive, springing it and making it easy for 27 to get on into the end zone.
So the 2 players down for the Citadel collided on the end of the play. Phil Barrett is number 11. Just to his right is Phil Davis, who's down closer to the sideline, number 4, Phil Davis. They were trying to run down Jordan Mason, who went 25 yards for his 2nd rushing touchdown of this game and 4th of the season. And Georgia Tech is an extra point away from tying this game, but they focus right now on the injured players for the Citadel defense. Good to see that Barrett is at least up on one knee.
Another look at it, you see Davis looked like he might have hit Mason as he came across first before he went down.
So while they continue to attend to Phil Davis, we'll take a timeout. It's a 1-point game. During the collision at the tail end of the play, as Jordan Mason was running into the end zone, Phil Barrett and Phil Davis colliding right near the goal line. And here's the play, James.
Yeah, and it's Davis just trying to make a play, and he hits Mason in the hip. Just glad he got off okay, because they seemed very concerned. He was still there for a while, but he's up and at him and over to the sidelines. And one of 28 from the state of Georgia that you mentioned earlier, and half of those you might hear around Atlanta is from Marietta. So here's a big extra point, though, Tom. He missed one earlier. First touchdown of the game.
This time it's Brenton King. That first miss was from Wesley Wells. Brenton King for the extra point. And we are tied. 21 all. Brenton King attaches the extra point. And Georgia Tech on the strength of two big plays. The 29-yard catch by Camp and the 25-yard TD run by Mason on that scoring drive as they keep their eye on Phil Davis on that Citadel sideline. All right, there's more ACC football action coming up next week. It's a doubleheader. We're going to start with Elon against Wake Forest, which posted that win last night at home against North Carolina in a non-conference game. We get started at noon with Elon and Wake, and then it's Appalachian State against North Carolina. North Carolina losing that game to Wake last night. Mac Brown, the former App State coach, spent 1 year there in 1983, and it'll just be the second meeting all time between those schools.
Really?
They met. The only other time, James, was back in 1940, but we will be there for those two teams getting together next Saturday. We'll be in Chapel Hill, North Carolina for App State.
Should be a good one. Former NC State offensive coordinator Eli Drinkwitz, the head coach now at App State. They had a week off to prepare for Mac Brown's team. Let's see if they bounce back up off the mat after their first loss of the season. A tough one last night, an ugly first half.
Fair catch made by Bulmer.
You know, ugly, I guess it's whatever lens you see it through. Wake Forest, the first team in that doubleheader against Elon, boy, they looked really good at times, offensively, but especially defensively, flying around and just wreaking havoc. All right. Here we go, tied at 21, 7:30 left to play in it. It doesn't look like Brandon Rainey's coming back in, so the Brian Murdaugh show from here on out, if you want to pull this big upset on the road in Atlanta, Citadel.
Just to put it in perspective for the Citadel, they are 0-22 in their history against the ACC. And remember, they started football in 1905. Murdaugh, shoulder down.
Ryan Murdaugh carries the ball.
Short of a 30. Against the Football Bowl subdivision, they are 8-50. Their last win, 2015, against South Carolina. 23-22.
Ball on the 29.
Their last ACC opponent was mid-November of last year at Clemson when they lost 61-3. And that was their last game of the season back in 2017.
Clay Harris carries the ball. David Curry with the stop.
So you talk about a monumental upset.
Money down.
Last year, they played Alabama, ultimately lost the game. That was their last game against an FBS opponent.
And that tied at 10-10. That was at halftime. 3rd down and 4 for the money down. They're making some noise for their defense.
Murdaugh. That's short of the first down by at least a yard. He got 2
Murdaugh carries the football
on the conservative carry. And that clock is going to tick inside of 6 minutes to go in the 4th quarter. Georgia Tech has come back to tie it up. Moments ago, Jordan Mason with his second rushing touchdown of the game. And Rainey, who had to leave the game earlier.
No hesitation. Brent Thompson grabs Njoku, sends him out there. 4th down and 1. Play of the game.
Looks like a first down for Clay Harris. But they had been 5 of 6 on 4th down this season. Not bashful about 4th down.
number 41, DeQuan Henderson.
Well, Brandon Rainey going and getting his helmet.
1st and 10 Bulldogs. Ball
Got some drama here.
36.
That's a new hashtag for this. We got all the effort and the process. It's drama in the 404 now. So we go almost under 5 minutes left to play, and Brandon Rainey doing all he can to get back out there, but Brian Murdaugh is in charge now.
They're going to go the other direction. Raleigh Webb into Georgia Tech territory. A little trick or razzle. Gadget play from the Citadel for 16 yards.
And you see how it all just gets set up. Hey, they're beating us here, they're beating us here. So everybody goes flying out of there, and they run themselves out of position. You know, against Clemson, this is a defense that played very well, but they ran themselves out of position a couple times, and Travis Etienne, he made them pay for it. You've got to just do what you're coached to do and do your job. Big first down there for the Citadel.
And the Bulldogs are now over 300 yards rushing in this game. Harris just got 2. They're up to 304 yards in total on the ground this afternoon against Georgia Tech. And that defense of Andrew Thacker and co-defensive coordinator Nathan Merton. Both of those guys were with Jeff Collins at Temple.
Look at the sweat on the brow of Thacker. He just wants these guys, just do your job and beat your guy.
Inside of 4 minutes in the fourth, and we're tied at 21. Penalty flags.
Are they helping him out here? They're going to say they drew him off sides.
Offside. Defense, number 96, entering the neutral zone.
Wow, you can't help him. Can't help him. He seemed to get back.
It's now second down.
Smart play by McIntyre. Put your hands on him and like snapping that ball when they come across that line, trying to get a free 5, and they do just that. Second down and 3.
Murdaugh has a hole left side. First down, 36-yard line. James for Georgia Tech with that penalty on the previous play. 7 penalties, 75 yards.
And most of them have been the big ones. They're the 15-yarders. Boy, they can't afford to help him out anymore. We just saw moments ago, Godek, the leg that he has, he was off just by a foot to the right on his last try. And there he is, the senior, hoping to get one more chance. There's that target line.
Clay Harris. That miss by Godek earlier in the fourth was just his second field goal attempt of the season. He missed one against Towson in the first game of the year. That's Clay Harris who remains on the turf. He got 3 yards on the play. 2:55 to go in the fourth. The Citadel, Georgia Tech, tied at 21. The Bulldogs. Some action from this second half. We had the Citadel up 14-6 at halftime. And then the pass to Jalen Camp. It's our Toyota. Let's go places. Brandon Rainey on the TD run, James.
Yeah, those places are the end zones on both ends. The answer. And this would have made it a 2-score game. And strong enough, long enough, but just off the mark. Godek just a few moments ago, and here's Mason tying it up. Quickly, Georgia Tech. But ever since then, the Citadel has had the football. We're tied at 21 with under 3 minutes left to play. Brandon Rainey trying to get them all revved up. Over on the sidelines, the starter and the guy that makes this team go for the Citadel, unable to go back in there with an injury. It's been Brian Murdaugh. And just a few yards away from Godek's field goal range. That target line you see there in red.
Murdaugh, nowhere to go, and no gain. Antoine Owens with the tackle. Owens 22 against the ACC for the Citadel. Godek getting loose. Harris has come back into the game for the Citadel in that backfield. Just showed you Godek, his only attempt of the day, 50 yards and a miss earlier in the fourth quarter. He's 0 for 2 this season. His career-long 48, and that happened against Alabama last year.
Play within the system. Do your job defensively.
Bulldogs have called the timeout. We'll step aside as well. appears that the Citadel, James, is going to try to set up for what could be the winning field goal against Georgia Tech.
Missed from 50, but he didn't miss short. That was just off to the right, but was 55 yards strong. So we had the range up there. They need a couple yards to go to make it comfortable. But Godek, who's one heck of a high school kicker out of Florida, Lake Brantley High School, may have a chance. But, hey, first things first, defensively, you got to shut them down right here. Don't let them squirt one out and figure out a way to get a first down. You got to stuff them, Georgia Tech, and make sure that it's a long, long try for Godek.
3rd and 8. You see that field goal target line for Godek. Just about 3 yards away from the football. Murdaugh to the 30. 4 yards, David Curry the tackle. It's going to be 4th and 4. Georgia Tech is taking a timeout with 1:48 to go. James, who could have predicted this today? 21 all, inside of 2 minutes to go between the Citadel and Georgia Tech.
Right, it's one thing to say, hey, when it comes to FBS schools, well, we were tied with Alabama at halftime last year, but then you look at that lopsided score at the end, 50-17, you figure some things out, and the tide turns, so to speak, in the momentum. But, hey, hats off to the Citadel here today. You salute these guys, because just when Georgia Tech seems like they've got it back and they've figured it out and they've got all the juice in the building, Citadel hasn't gone home.
James, there has only been one field goal attempt in this game. It came in the 4th quarter from 50 yards away by Jacob Godek. As you said, it had the distance, but not the direction.
I mean, that was a 50-yarder that was well into the stands there, beyond the goalpost.
On for the field goal.
A little "we will rock you in the house" just to build it up.
47 yards away. Jacob Godek 0 for 1 in the game to put the Citadel ahead inside of 2 minutes in regulation. The 47-yarder on the way. And Godek connects.
The 47-yard field goal by Godek is good. And with 1:53 to go.
James, he missed from 50. He made it from 47.
Georgia Tech 21.
Just absolutely drilled it. A great snap, a great hold. Patrick Keefe, the graduate student, with the snap, puts it right down. And making sure he didn't miss to the right this time. It was just as much inside that left post this time as it was outside on that first try. Look at Brent Thompson.
What a moment for that young man, Jacob Godek, senior from Longwood, Florida. He had missed his 2 previous attempts this season. One against Towson, one today from 50 yards away, but 47 yards away moments ago, and it's through. 11 plays, over 5.5 minutes used on that clock. Keep in mind, Georgia Tech has only 1 timeout to work with in the final 1:51.
Well, there have been a couple drives, though, where Tobias Oliver and Jordan Mason have just run through this defense like butter. So this game is far from over, even with that 1 timeout. The Citadel's going to have to find a way to stiffen.
Oliver and Cottrell with Eatman. Oliver a step deep, and here he comes. Oliver, 30-yard line. Oliver cut it to 40. And up near midfield, Tobias Oliver. Mack had to make the tackle on Oliver. It's 52 yards on the return.
Position flexibility is a phrase that you hear around here quite a bit. Guys playing offense and defense, multiple positions. Here's your quarterback. Here's the guy that you're going to lean on to help go win this football game, returning the kick to help out that offense, and he'll get a breather as Lucas Johnson, who left the field earlier with an injury to his shoulder, went to the locker room. He's back out there, but pats on the back for number 8 as he gets him across midfield and in perfect position with 1:40 left to play here in the game.
Oliver's got a TD pass to his credit today to Jalen Camp. Wants to fire, looking for Camp. sliding grab inside the 40. And 9 yards on first down for the Jackets. They spotted at the 39. Second and short.
Jackets quickly over that ball. Citadel having a tough time getting lined up.
Johnson dumps it off. It's complete to Mason. First down and more. Mason near the 30-yard line. 10 plays, so 9 plays on first down, 10 on second down, and they're moving the ball.
Well, it was whatever it takes to the very end. Went to the wire last week in the first win for Jeff Collins as the Georgia Tech head coach against USF. A goal line stand they needed. And it certainly looks like it might go down to the wire and a chance to win it here today, or at least tie it up.
The win last week was their third straight at home going back to last season. Johnson. He's taken down at the 40. 76 is Dewey Green. And a loss on the play of 12 yards for Georgia Tech.
It's a snap that's been low all day, and they seem to just deal with it and go down and get it, but still that extra beat gives them a chance to get back there in the time, and now they're quickly over the ball as we're near 45 seconds.
Over the middle. It's complete near the 30-yard line. Brown has the catch. Watch that clock. 37, 36 and moving. One timeout for Georgia Tech. There is a player down for the Citadel. The clock will stop with 34 seconds. That is Dewey Green, the fourth, who made that sack just a moment ago of Lucas Johnson. And a big loss of 12 yards on that play.
Perhaps cramping up. There were quite a few USF Bulls last weekend that left the field late with cramps. Big play by the freshman from Columbia, South Carolina. One of a few guys from AC Flora High School on this squad. Wow, what a big sack.
What a football game with 34 seconds left. And right now, the 47-yard field goal for the Citadel and Jacob Godek.
The clock will start on the snap.
Of course, declining Jeff Collins at 10-second runoff. So we'll sit right there at 34, still with the one timeout, but a chance to catch your breath and talk about the next couple plays here for Georgia Tech. You better believe if they can find a way to get this first down yardage here, they'll be right back over that football with another play ready to go, but quite a ways to go. They need 12 yards for a fresh set of downs.
Tobias Oliver is in at quarterback. Third and 12. They'll pitch it off. This is Mason. That's down to the 12-yard line. Jordan Mason for the Yellow Jackets. 18 yards on the rush for Mason.
Nice job over the football. They look sharp and able to get the snap off, it looked like.
Flag on the play. Oliver remaining in there at quarterback.
They weren't set.
Our referee, Stuart Mullins. A lot of airtime today.
You got to be careful with that football. You want to get that ball snapped. And it looked good, Georgia Tech getting over the football in a hurry. You can tell that they had been coached in this 2-minute drill. But be careful with that ball. You're lucky you just get a penalty here of 5 yards.
Friday snap. Snap infraction, number 55 offense. This foul occurred with under 1 minute to play in the second half of the game clock running. By rule, it includes a 10-second runoff. Clock operator, please set the clock to 13 seconds. Start it on the ready for the play.
I don't know why they're booing. That's the rule. So 13 now as it gets really interesting here. But still, one timeout for the Yellow Jackets. And just secure that football. At the very least, give yourself a chance to tie this game up at 24.
On first and 15. Oliver running to the goal line, and in.
Touchdown, Georgia Tech.
There was a timeout called before the snap. Georgia Tech taking its last timeout as Tobias Oliver ran to the end zone.
I never heard a whistle. Yeah. Right at the snap.
Now, you did see the Citadel players, though. They stopped.
Yeah.
They did not go for the tackle of Oliver.
And I guess just their peripheral, they're facing the other direction, saw the action over on the sidelines.
Right.
Watch the bottom of your screen here, right here. There he is.
Coach Collins
calling timeout.
Yep.
Okay. So
I don't see it being granted, though, there, James.
Yeah, but you know what? You're right in the sense that the defense, it looked like a few of them did stop.
They definitely stopped.
You know, so it's like, well, gosh, that was just too easy.
Wow. This is just fitting for this game.
And 7 seconds ran off the clock prior to the timeout being called by Georgia Tech. Clock operator, please set the clock to 6 seconds and start it on the snap.
So if there's 6 seconds
Prior to the start,
you don't have any timeouts. You got to run the field goal unit out there, James, don't you?
you have to.
There's no question about this.
You have to.
Now, keep in mind, James, Georgia Tech has only attempted 1 field goal this season, and that was last week against South Florida, and a miss of 51 yards for Brenton King. And Brenton King is going out there.
They've already missed an extra point in this football game.
This is from 34 yards away. Again, only the 2nd attempt of the season for the team and for King. They snap it. There's a kick, but there's a timeout. The Citadel called timeout. What a wild finish. You know, we had a crazy end to the first half, too, James.
Yeah, not quite this crazy,
No.
This is muy loco. Man.
This is on another level.
It is. Got some icing going on now.
My God. Now, who thought we would come down to 6 seconds and Georgia Tech would need a field goal to tie this game up? Look at those cadets.
Right.
The Knobs, the first-year cadets who made the trip from Charleston, South Carolina. And outside of the Knobs and some people in light blue around that corner, not a whole lot of people thought the Citadel could come into this building and beat this team, Georgia Tech.
No, there aren't many jumping around right now. They're fidgeting, but it's a nervous energy just looking to tie it here now at the end of regulation.
34 yards away for Brenton King to tie this game. It is good. Not by much, but good.
Boy, it was going in a hurry to the right. Well, Brenton King, nice snap, nice hold by Lucas Johnson, the quarterback. Just inside that right upright. And quick with the signal. Didn't need to build any more drama right there.
Wow.
For the Jackets and the Dogs.
Unbelievable. Time runs out. King hits the field goal. It's the end of regulation. Overtime is straight ahead. Bulldogs and the Yellow Jackets in Atlanta.
Quarters in regulation here today. I'll take all we can get. Beautiful afternoon. I know Jeff Collins would rather have it a few other ways, but right now this is what he's got, and this Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets lucky to be tied right now and take it into overtime.
Simply amazing that the Citadel comes in here today and puts up this kind of fight against Georgia Tech, coming off its first win of the season last week against South Florida right here at Bobby Dodd Stadium. That's Brandon Rainey, the quarterback for the Citadel, who had to leave the game in the 4th. Last OT game for Georgia Tech was the last home win.
All right, gentlemen, congratulations on 4 well-played quarters and welcome to extra periods.
That was against Virginia, by the way.
period. Your unused second half timeouts did not carry over, nor do timeouts carry over from extra period to extra period. During the first 4 extra periods, each possession series will start 1st and 10 at the plus 25-yard line unless moved by a penalty. Should we reach a second extra period, we'll have a mandatory rest period as well as after the 4th extra period. Should we reach a 3rd extra period, you must score a 2-point point after touchdown for the points to count. Should we reach a 5th extra period, by rule change this year, we will have a 2-point conversion shootout. We will now flip the coin. President Kennedy is heads. Independence Hall is tails. Winner of the choice will choose offense or defense or end of the field. You may not defer your choice. Should we have subsequent extra periods, the loser of the first toss has first choice of options and all even-numbered extra periods, and the winner of the first toss has first choice of options and all odd-numbered extra periods. Citadel, what is your call? Tails it is. And it is tails. So you want to go on? You want to go on defense? Which end, men? Down there. All right, flip around here for me, please, gentlemen. Okay, Citadel won the toss and chose to go on defense. Georgia will have the ball. First and 10 at the 25-yard line. Good luck, gentlemen.
Stuart Mullins was prepared for that overtime. Well, that was impressive.
No cards, no nothing.
Independence Hall.
Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
There you go. Wow.
Man. James, this is just week 2 of our schedule. Week 3 of the college football season. Our week 2.
Well, here's how we got here. The total plays of 72 for the Citadel with that triple option attack. Just marching down the field, taking care of that football for the most part. And then down there, Rainey, the starting quarterback, Brandon Rainey, with the 70 yards rushing and a touchdown throw. You saw him limp out there for the coin toss to start overtime, but he wasn't able to go there for most of the 4th quarter. Can he come back out on offense if they get the ball? And will they have to score 7 to match what Georgia Tech hopes to get here on their first crack at it?
Tobias Oliver, a quarterback for Georgia Tech. A short gain on first down. And you heard all the rules from Stuart Mullins. Most importantly, during the 3rd overtime session, you must go for 2 after a score. And then, should we get there in the 5th overtime session, it's back and forth with 2-point conversion tries. Whoa. That was close on the exchange there to Mason from Oliver. And 92 was Aaron Brawley.
Brawley there, part of that mesh point, and well, good job by Mason. Just claw that football and not give it up, but it's 3rd down and 8. Comes Lucas Johnson back in now, the thrower at the quarterback spot in this system. And trying to get up now to that 15-yard line, get a fresh set of downs here in overtime.
Johnson pressured, and he gets taken down at the 30-yard line. Joseph Randolph, the 2nd, loss of 6.
They started with a great defensive play on first down, then you got him behind in that game, and then here comes that blitz, and nowhere to run. The pressure not only from the edge, but up the middle. And they quickly shut it down and force a long field goal try here to start. 46-yarder now.
Brenton King made it from 34 yards as time expired. That is no good. Outside the right pipe from King. From 46 yards away.
The reaction over there, Coach Thompson in his Bulldogs sideline. Back to work, though. Back to work. Here's your chance. Boy, we haven't called that name in a while, but big part of this game, Sean Thomas Faulkner, special teams, and defensively as well, to put him in this game and put him in this spot. And perhaps it'll be up to Jacob Godek to senior kicker, pull off this huge win on the road, and a backup quarterback in Brian Murdaugh, as Brandon Rainey still not out there, fighting, trying to get out there, but he's injured, so it'll be up to Murdaugh.
The Citadel on first down in Murdaugh. That's a short gain. Last OT game for the Citadel, early September of last season, and a loss to Chattanooga, 29-28. So both teams played in an OT game last year. It was a win for Georgia Tech against Virginia near the end of the season last year. And here they are, both in their third game of the season, playing overtime, and the Citadel trying to defeat an ACC team for the first time in 23 tries. And their first win against an FBS team since 2016 when they defeated South Carolina. Play Harris.
Harris carries the ball.
Just for review purposes, Jacob Godek, number 86, the senior, a miss in the fourth quarter from 50 yards away, and a make from 47 yards away. He had only attempted one field goal before today and missed it against Towson in an opening season loss. For the Citadel Bulldogs, 3rd and 5.
Make sure you force that field goal here, though.
Ooh. Harris got nothing. Maybe lost half a yard.
There's Curry again. Curry started the day making plays. He's going to finish it up that way. They're going to get a chance, though, to get that offense out there one more try and have a chance, or are they going to shut it down here and head back to the Citadel victorious? Wow.
He would make from 47 to miss from 50. Godek to win it for the Citadel from 37 yards away. And he's going to have to wait. James, should I be nervous? Should my heart be pounding? Because it is.
I'm nervous.
I'm just telling you, my man.
Oh, wow.
College football is so amazing because you just never know what you're going to run into on a Saturday in the fall.
Amen to that. You know, and it's, you're so excited about the energy that they've got here in Atlanta now with Georgia Tech and what Jeff Collins brings to the table. But at the same time, what Brent Thompson and his crew has been through. And you know, and we mentioned the hurricane, but we never even had a chance to get into the Elijah Lowe, you know, a kid from the Bahamas. Some of these stories of like, not just affected by moving camp, but truly affected what they've been through.
Yeah, Lowe, a native of the Bahamas.
So much on the line right here in overtime.
37 yards away, Jacob Godek to win it for the Bulldogs.
He got it.
The Citadel has defeated Georgia Tech